Hi everyone, welcome back to Business Studies class. In last class we have seen different forms of organization structure. So there we have learned functional organizational structure and divisional organizational structure. And this topic will be learning forms of organization, that is types of organization. Okay, so on what basis you are going to divide the organization structure and the organization will be learning here. So as you already learned, when an entire organization, the work, the activity of an organization is divided on the basis of product they produce, we call it as divisional organizational structure. If an organization activity is divided on the basis of the functions they perform, we define that as a functional organizational structure. So here in the forms of organization, we will be dividing the organization in two forms, that is formal organization and informal organization. Here we don't speak about the structure of an organization, we speak about how the rules and regulations are made in an organization. Okay, depending upon the line of authority, depending upon the activities they carry on, we define the organization as formal or informal. So let us get into the topic. So as you already know, your types of organization are two, that is it can be formal organization or it can be informal organization. Okay. So what is this formal organization? You can see here, if an organization is designed by the management, okay, so management, you know, the managers, right? So if an organization is designed by the management in order to accomplish a particular task to reach its goal, where everything is clearly defined, what is the role of a particular authority, to what extent they have authority, what is the responsibility of a particular employee, to what extent he has responsibility and authority. If such things are clearly defined in an organization, we call it as a formal organization. If everything is planned deliberately, you can remember this. If everything is planned deliberately, how the authority should flow, what is the responsibility of each employee, how they have to work, okay, up to what time they have to work, what are the tasks they have to, within what time they have to complete, if everything, how the communication has to flow. Okay, here I want to remind you the scalar chain principle. There we have seen that through the what this scalar chain principle says, the communication should flow in a straight line basis. Okay, only in case of emergency you can use gangplank, which is a shortcut to your scalar chain. Is it clear? So in your scalar chain, what happens, the line of authority will be from top to bottom and the responsibility from the bottom to top. If such things are organized and developed and maintained in an organization, we call such organization as formal organization. It means nothing happens spontaneously in your formal organization. Everything will be pre-planned. Everything will be clearly defined. You should know what is your right, what is your responsibility. Everyone should know their line of authority. Everyone should know their boundaries of responsibility. If an organization is designed in such a manner, we can call it as a formal organization. Is it clear? So here we are seeing the forms of organization. Okay, so your formal organization is one where everything is designed by the management, which clearly specifies everything. Okay, how the line of authority, who should be the boss and who should be the subordinates, who should be the superior and who should be the workers under him. So everything, if it is clearly defined, deliberately defined, then we say such an organization is a formal organization. Quite opposite to this is your informal organization. You can see here, in informal organization, everything is done on the basis of their social relationships. See, you imagine a situation where you are working for an organization. Okay, you are working for an organization. There will be having some of the social needs, isn't it? If someone comes in front of us, if he is a colleague of you, generally we have a casual talk with them, isn't it? So such casual talks builds up a relationship between two workers. Okay, so informal organization is a network of social relationships among the employees which arises spontaneously. No one clearly defines what you should say to your colleague and what your colleague should react, in what way they should react. Only in matters of work something might be defined, but not in the casual issues. Are you clear? So, informal organization is an organization where everything happens spontaneously. Nothing is predefined. Nothing is deliberately designed. Because of the social relationship between the people, things will happen. I'll get you an example. Say I'm a business studies lecturer. I'm not your class teacher, okay? But also I'll get you all the information, okay? But what you can say is the information what I'm getting you is in informal way, okay? But the actual information what you should get for your class is through your class teacher. So when your class teacher says you something about a particular thing, it becomes your formal communication. Is it clear? So in an formal organization, formal communication will exist. In an informal organization, generally informal communication exists. Is it clear? So your informal organization is quite opposite to your formal organization. In a formal organization, everything will be predefined. You know what is your rights, you know what is your responsibility, you know who is your superior, you know who is your subordinate, you know what for you are working, how much time you are working, everything will be predefined. Okay? Whereas in informal organization, depending upon the situation, you will be just moving on. Okay, and we say the relationships like superior and subordinate relationships are not particularly defined, they are created spontaneously. Is it clear? So this is the difference between your formal and informal organization. Stop here and just say to yourself that organization structure is different from organization. Is it clear? Organization structures, what we have seen before, is different from what we are going to see now, what we are going to learn now, the forms of organization. Okay, see, we have seen departmentalization in the organizing process, if you remember, isn't it? We have seen organizing process where the first one is identifying the work and dividing the work, and then comes departmentalization, and then comes assigning of responsibilities, duties, and last establishing relationships, right? So in second stage of organizing, departmentalization has to be done. That is, the entire organization has to be divided. Okay, if you are coming up with multiple products, the departmentalization has to be done. If you are coming out with a single product, then generally departmentalization is based on functions itself. If you are coming out with different types of products under a single roof, then there is a necessity of departmentalization. What is this departmentalization? Grouping of the things either on the basis of function or either on the basis of product produced. So while departmentalization, we have made two types of organizations, that it can be functional or it can be divisional. Alright, that is your structure of an organization. How we are going to divide your organization, how we are going to frame your organization, on the basis of function or on the basis of product produced. Clear? But now what we are going to study is, in organization, how your organization is functioning, whether it is functioning in a formal way or whether it is functioning in an informal way, whether in an organization everything is pre-planned, everything is prepared, everything is deliberately done, or it is you are doing the activity depending upon the situations which arises spontaneously. You are making someone superior, someone subordinate only depending upon their personal relationships. Are you getting that? Depending upon that, what we decide whether I am going to have my organization such this particular way, like everything I am going to deliberately prepare, or I don't want to prepare anything in advance. As the time moves, as the situation arises, I'll just go with it. You are having such organization. It makes whether your organization is formal or your organization is informal. So whenever you read a question, read carefully, because many of your seniors have committed mistake here. See, whenever the organization structure is asked, they have written organizations, type of organization like formal, informal. Whenever this organization is asked, they used to write the organization structure like divisional and functional. Is it clear? So be clear here. The types of organization structure, you have divisional and functional. Types of organizations, how your organization is functioning is your types of organization. It can be formal, where everything will be defined. Informal, nothing is deliberately done, everything happens spontaneously. Is it clear? So depending upon that, you have to attend the question. Here I want to remind the tip what I usually say to you. Whenever you have such confusion questions where there is a chance of getting confusion, so as I said, you will be given time, extra time, just to go with the question paper, isn't it? Then what you can do is, if you find such questions where there is a chance of getting confused, like one more thing we have discussed in chapter 2, principles of management, features of management, or it can be features of principles of management. Okay, there also generally students gets confused. Features of management we study in chapter 1. Features of principles of management we study in chapter 2. So there also you have a chance of getting confused. So at that spot, what you can do is, you can just underline that. You please underline that question. You cannot write anything on the question paper, okay? But you can underline that. When you underline the question, when you come to that point to answer, you will be seeing that particular question carefully. You will be reading the question very consciously. You will read whether it is types of organization structure or whether it is types of organizing. You will be seeing, you will be reading once or twice. So you will be clear with what you are going to write. This tip you have to follow. Whenever you come to that question where there is a chance of confusion, please underline that. And when you come to that part of answering, please read the question twice and then go with the answering. Okay. Now we'll see the features of formal organization. It's clear, as we have seen in the meaning. It is deliberately created. It means deliberately created in the sense it is done in a planned way. You have invested time over that and you have thought how the things should be done and you have prepared in that way. That is what deliberately created structure. Sometimes what happens, we don't think much about anything. Just we do it because of the situation, because of the circumstances. So we say, sorry, I didn't do it deliberately, we say, if something goes wrong. It means wantedly, I didn't invest much time, just like I have done that, we say, okay. But if I say deliberately I have done, that means you have invested your time, you have spent, quality time over that, and then you have made that. So that is what your decision, we say. So one of the feature of your formal organization is it is deliberately done. It is not at all spontaneous, it is deliberate. Then comes, it is job oriented. It means it clearly says the authority and responsibility, okay. So every employee of an organization knows what is my authority and what is my responsibility. See, when we have seen the chapter, when we have gone with this authority responsibility in chapter 2, okay, principle of authority and responsibility we have gone with. There we have learned that whenever you have responsibility, some sort of authority should be given, and whenever you have authority, you should feel responsible about that. So here we can say that in a formal organization, everything is clear. Hence we say it is job oriented. Every job will be having its own responsibility and authority. Then comes division of work. So it actually we have seen organizing process. It is one of the best way of creating a good organization, because your division of work will be possible in your formal organization. Why? Because it is deliberately done. I hope you know what is this division of work. That is dividing the work into small pieces and allotting that work to the a particular person on repeated basis. Hence it will lead to what? Principle of specialization. Then comes departmentalization. See, it is very easy in your formal organization to have a departmentalization, because everything is crystal clear here. You are not waiting for anything. Depending upon the information, depending upon the people you have, you are going to divide your organization, right? Then comes the authority. Everything is fixed here. The authority is fixed because it is job oriented. Even delegation is possible. Delegation in the sense giving some sort of a work to some other. In your formal organization, you will divide the work and you delegate in a right manner. Hence what happens, even coordination is possible here. Okay, and lastly we can say it is based on principle of organizing. Actually, principles of organizing, we have a topic, but as per your syllabus it is not included. So what we can say is, whenever the formal organization is created, it is created on the basis of principles of organizing. So what are these principles? Principles are the guidelines. So guidelines for organization, how you have to divide, identify and divide the work, how you have to departmentalize it, how you have to departmentalization has to be done, and next how the duties has to be assigned, how the authority and responsibility has to be created. For all these things, for a manager you have a guideline. So your formal organization is based on such guidelines. Hence we say it is based on principles of organizing. But to be frank, principles of organizing we don't have in our topic, but we can say that formal organization is based on principles of organizing. Then comes advantages and disadvantages of formal organization. Okay, so this can be features, and features can, in features itself you can divide advantages and disadvantages. This you know, I hope. Here we can say optimum use of resources. In an formal organization, as it is deliberately planned, we know what are the resources available and how it should be used and all. Hence resources will be used to the optimum extent. It means wastage will be least in your formal organization, because everything is pre-planned, everything you know, data you have, and according to that you have made everything. Okay, hence we say optimum utilization of resources. Then comes job satisfaction. Every employee will be happy with his job, because everyone knows what is my level of authority and what is my responsibility. Okay, there what happens, if he finishes his work efficiently, generally what happens, his satisfaction level will be increasing. If you don't know anything, you don't know who is your superior, you don't know who is your subordinate, you don't know what is your authority, you don't know what is your responsibility, then you are not efficient in your work, because you don't know what to do and what not to do. Okay, hence we say it is a formal organization. It is, that is, if you do everything, if the line of authority is clear, if everything is deliberately designed and intimated to the employees, their job satisfaction will increase. Generally we know, when they are satisfied with their job, their morale towards an organization increases. Okay, their efficiency increases. Hence it even helps in personal development. Then comes motivating employees. In an formal organization, as I said, everything is planned. So even coordination, motivation is also planned. The employees will know, that the managers or the superior knows how to motivate the employees, why to motivate the employees, in what way they have to motivate. Everything will be defined in your formal organization, and it generally gives motivation to the employees, because the organization is so caring towards the employees. And lastly, it facilitates management action. We know, when everything is clear, everyone knows their area of authority and responsibility, it becomes very easy for a manager to supervise over the things. If employees are in confused state, generally each and every time it is a superior, it is a supervisor, or it is the manager who should take more care over that. Okay, it becomes difficult for a manager. But everyone knows their responsibility. If everyone are aware of their rights and responsibilities and their objectives to be achieved, then it facilitates a manager to be efficient. Hence we say it facilitates management action. As we know, along with merits, for every concept we will be studying demerits. And as I say to you, always we have to manage our demerits, and you have to choose that where we have least demerits and more merits. Similarly, we have disadvantages here. It does not allow flexibility. It is rigid. It means, why? Everything is planned. When I plan everything in advance, okay, because of the situations, I don't want to change. I don't want to be flexible, because I have spent much time in our planning. If you remember the demerits of planning there, okay, even we have studied the chapter planning, there we have seen the demerits. So one of the demerit is there will be rigid. Why? Because you have spent time, you have spent money in collecting data, you have spent time in analyzing data, and you have spent time in setting everything, designing everything. Now because of something, if you want to change, entire plan changes. Are you getting? Hence we say formal organization does not allow flexibility. Everything should move as per plan itself. Okay, it does not allow long-term planning, because there is no flexibility. It cannot plan for long-term. If you plan for long-term, what happens? We know that always business exists in dynamic situation. So what happens? Something changes externally and it forces you to change. We have even seen business environment, many of the dimensions we have seen there. So if there is any change in the government, that will influence you and it will pressurize you to change. but you don't want to change because you have planned many things. Then what happens? You will be left back. Hence what happens, that managers plans for short term because they are aware that some external situation may happen which influence the organization at that particular time. I have to change myself. Okay, I cannot be stubborn that time. If you want to survive in the market, if you want to sustain in the market, you have to go with the change. But if you have spent more money, if you have spent more time, you don't want to change, then what I decide, I don't plan for long term, I'll be planning for the short term. Is that clear? So if anything changes in next term, I'll adopt that change and I'll go with the new planning. I don't go for long planning. Is that clear? Hence formal organization does not allow you for long term planning. And the last, you can have limited scope of creativity. As we know, see, the employees' creativity should be given chance. But what happens if everything is predefined? So if some employee suggest something, you cannot change, you cannot adopt that change in your plan because your plans are fixed. You have spent many things on that. You don't want to be flexible. Hence what happens, the creativity of the subordinates will be limited. It will be like, it may be ignored many times. So these are the disadvantages of your formal organization. Then we have advantages of formal organization. What is this formal organization? Formal organization is a network of social relationships, okay, which arises spontaneously because they are working together. How it will be helpful to an organization? Is it clear? That we are going to study here. It helps to fulfill the social needs. Okay, social needs we generally have. What are these social needs? Like example I am getting you. If you are in colorful dress on that particular day, you expect some appreciation from your friends. They should say, oh, you are looking good. You expect that. If no one says you anything, though you are looking so bright on that particular day, you will get upset. Your reason for upset is no one has appreciated you. Is it? Such things happens or not? When you enter into an organization, no one has wished you. Generally, no one has wished you. Then what happens? You feel upset for that. Is that clear? So, the social relationships in an organization makes the employee happy. Why? Because they expect that, because we are the social animals. We expect some social relationships. When you are out of mood, okay, when you are somewhat depressed, you expect that someone should ask you, what happened? Oh, why you are so moody today? What happened? Is anything wrong with you? Is that clear? Such things you expect from your, it might be colleagues. If they don't ask you anything, you will feel upset again. Is it clear? So if they ask, you will share something. When you share the burden, generally it lightens, you will feel happy and you get into the work happily. Are you getting what I am saying? This can be possible only in informal organization. So if you have an informal organization, then what happens? The social needs of employees will be satisfied. Clear? See, if someone today, if someone is celebrating their birthday on that particular day, if they just share a sweet with you, you will be very happy. Is it clear? So such an occasion, such a situation makes people mingle with the employees and feel happy with the others. So those are the social needs of human being that can be satisfied only in your informal organization. And second point also says that it develops a sense of belongingness in the organization. See, when your colleagues are so in a free time, in a staff room, or in a workplace, if all are just talking about an issue and they are enjoying with that discussion and all, it seems to be very good. The relationship between the employees, the social relationship between the colleagues will strengthen. So in times of emergency, in times of need, one will be helpful to other. You just imagine a situation where no one cares for anyone. Okay, I don't bother whether my colleague is happy or not. I don't ask them anything. I don't talk anything because nothing is defined by an organization. Organization never said that if your colleague is somewhat upset, moody, you should have a good talk with them. Like that, organization did not define anything. So I don't want to do that. If in such a situation, do you think the employees will feel belongingness? Absolutely no. Okay, it generally makes them not to be efficient in their work, because always try to understand, if a person is happy from inside, generally his efficiency levels increases. He will be doing the work with more commitment. Is it clear? Hence we say informal organization creates a sense of belongingness in the organization. Then comes a faster spread of information as well as quick feedback. So in an informal organization, the information will be spread very quickly and feedback can be taken very quickly. Why I am saying this is, you remember scalar chain, which gives you the authority how the communication should flow. If A want to talk with D, A has to communicate to B, B has to communicate to C, and C has to communicate to D. Now D want to give some feedback to A, then D has to say to C, C has to say to B, and B has to communicate that to A. Just think the length. It will be time consuming. Okay, but in an informal organization, you no need to follow any such scalar principle. Hence, the information will be floated like anything. It will be easily flowed and quickly the feedback can be recovered. Right? It contributes towards fulfillment of organizational objectives. For example, employees' reaction towards plan policies can be tested through the informal network. See what happens? In order to achieve an organizational goal, you need the help of cooperation of all the employees. You have set a particular organizational goal where the employees feel that it is not possible for our organization to meet that goal because of some of the reason. So in such a case, what happened? The organization has decided, that is the management has decided, the workers feel that it is not possible. Then what happens? The information will never be passed to the top management, or if at all it should be passed, it takes lengthy time. But if you have an informal organization, what happens? Someone will be close to the top management. Any one employee in the, who comes under actual just workforce may be somewhere in some way, they might be in good contact with the top management people. So in informal communication, what happens? Directly that information will be flowed from that bottom level to the top level easily. But if it should be formal, everything should be in the reverse way, reverse line, straight line. So worker has to inform to the bottom level has to inform to the middle level, and middle level to the top level. Hence what happens? Whether the employees agree, whether they are giving consent for setting such goals or not, will never known to the top management. If you have a formal, if at all it will be known, it takes much time. Okay, but if you have informal communication, then what happens? Easily the information will be passed and the feedback also will be received. We have some of the demerits for your informal organization. The first and foremost is spread of rumors. When you don't have a systematic thing, rumors will be more. As I given you example, I am not your class teacher, so I am not a formal informer to your class, but also I will inform many things. Is it clear? I will inform many things. So there are 5 issues to be informed. Okay, but I am not a class teacher. I have informed some 7 issues. But when your class teacher has come to your class, they have informed only 5 issues. So 2 extra issues what I have informed to your class is not informed by your class teacher. Now you will be in confusion. Some says yes, all the 7 issues, and some says only 5 issues. You will be in confusion. Is it clear? But if you don't have informal communication, I don't have any right to inform you anything. It is only the class teacher, they will inform, so you will take only those 5 issues. So as per survey also, it is proved that 70% of informal spreads will create rumors. Okay, so hence we say it is better to have a formal organization where there is a chance of rumors will be too least, because everything will be in a formal way. It may be in the form of circulars, notice, everything. See, for example, I'll come and say that tomorrow there is a holiday, but you didn't get any circular. So you'll be in confusion whether we have a holiday or tomorrow is a holiday or not. Once you get a circular, then it will be clear. If not, it becomes a rumor. Is it clear? So in an informal organization, you don't have any practice like sending circulars, notice, anything. It is through word of mouth, spontaneously everything will be done. Hence it leads to spread of rumors. Then comes no systematic working. As we know, we don't have an authority and responsibility designed by the management. Hence everyone will be in confusion and there may not be systematic work. And when you don't have systematic work, generally it gives negative results. That is, you are not achieving your goals. And lastly, we can say your informal organization gives more importance to the individual interest. But one of our principles says that subordination of individual interest to the organizational interest. More preference should be given to the organizational interest, not to the individual personal interest. But your informal organization is created on the basis of social networks. Hence, it gives importance to the individual interest, which is against to the principle of management. So these are the demerits of your informal organization. Here we can have some difference. This is most important question. Difference between formal and informal organization can be asked for 4 marks. Meaning, as you know, it is defined clearly. It is not. It is just happened spontaneously. Creation. Okay, how it is created, how it is made. So formal organization is made consciously, that is deliberately. And opposite to your informalization, it just arises spontaneously depending upon the circumstances, situations, necessities. Purpose. Why your formal organization is created? Completely to achieve the organization. Why your informal organization is sometimes created? It is to satisfy the psychological, that is social needs of an employee. Then in an formal organization, formal communication will be there. That is, communication will be flowed in a scalar chain basis. But in an informal organization, it flows as it is. Control mechanism. In your formal organization, all rules and procedures will be there. Okay, what do's and do nots are clear in your formalization. But in your informalization, personal relationship between the individual. For example, I am good with my HOD. They'll grant me some more leaves. If you are not good with your HOD, leaves will be granted to you. Like that, depending upon the personal relationships between the employees, things moves on in an informal organization. Authority and responsibility. In your formalization, it is in a right way. That is, authority flows from top to downwards and your responsibility flows upwards. That is, from bottom to top. And in your informalization, there is no exact flow. It can be like anything because there is no line of authority and responsibility at all. Hence, we say there is negative result. Then size, where it can be applied. If it is a large scale organization, you can go with formal organization. If it is a small scale organization coming out with a small scale production, then go with informal because you don't have much activity to do in that. Stability. Generally, your personal organization is stable because it is with the rules and regulations and you are achieving the organization goals. It can be continued for a number of years. Whereas informal organization is not stable because it is depending upon what? Your social relationships. So, I hope today I have covered lengthy topic. Try to grasp the things, go with the notes, and sure it will help you. And as usual, if you have any doubts, you can just give me a call. So, till we meet in our next class, take care. Bye-bye.